Hello, everyone. So today we have the Sagittarius new moon, and I love new moons as a time for like setting your intentions and doing like a bit of a manifestation ritual because the new moon is like the beginning, and it's like when you first get the first 2 weeks of the new moon cycle are really like that yang energy. It's a great time to take action. It's a great time to like start working on your dreams, and it's a great time to like set those intentions. And then once you hit like 2 weeks after that, like after the full moon, that's like a great time to sort of like rest into that yin period, and when you're sort of supposed to more like surrender into your what you're manifesting and kind of not take a back seat, but like stop, like you kind of just like chill more, because I feel like manifestation, it really is about like you set that intention, you wait to get that guidance and take action. It's not like you just sit there and think about it. Like you do need to take action on what you're manifesting basically, but it's like that guided action like that sometimes comes in the form of intuition. Like your intuition is like telling you like, hey, go here, or like, hey, you should look up this thing. And so in this live, I was going to go over a little bit like what sort of like the energy is at the moment. And then I was going to like walk you through a little like journaling exercise that I like to use around the new moon. So yeah, I'll light some Palo Santo just so we can sort of like clear out the vibes. And also, I don't know if you knew this, but I found out recently that Palo Santo is like endangered. And apparently we're like not meant to be using it because they're like getting it unethically, because the way that you're supposed to harvest it is it's supposed to like fall to the ground in the forest, and once it's dried out, then that's like the Palo Santo that you're meant to use. And apparently that's not how everyone is getting their Palo Santo. So unless you have a trusted source, or hey guys, unless you've got like a trusted source, like I feel like maybe we should just be like using up the Palo Santo that we've got and finding something else to sort of clear up the vibes. So basically, how did everyone's Mercury retrograde go? I feel like it was a really full-on one because it was in Scorpio, and like Scorpio season was just really intense for everyone, I think, because Scorpio is really about like, it's the sign of like birth, death, transformation, the subconscious mind, like all the deep, dark stuff that nobody really wants to deal with. I feel like this all really came up in Scorpio season, and I feel like everyone kind of had a bit of a rough time with it. But and also with Mercury retrograde also going on, like I never want to be like all doom and gloom about Mercury retrograde, because I feel like it's really disempowering to be like, yeah, I know, right? Like I feel like everyone had a really rough time. And like, because Mercury, you're like, you're not so, it kind of rules electronics and communication. And so when you're not meant to like travel, or like you are meant to be very mindful with your communication, because Mercury is like the planet of communication. And so when it's retrograde, it's like we don't have that benefit of it kind of like helping us with our communication, and we're not meant to be like signing like contracts or making like big decisions about like what's going on in our lives. But obviously you can't avoid those things sometimes. I guess it's just like helpful to be mindful of it. But I also think it's a really good time to like review and reflect on what I guess you kind of like learned, because Mercury goes retrograde 3 times a year, I believe it is, for like 20 days. And so it's like a great time to sort of like look back on what happened in the previous period, and just sort of like review and reflect. But I don't know if it was because it was in Scorpio, everyone just seemed to have like a really intense time with it. But now Mercury's gone direct, but up until like December 7th, yeah, 100%. Like I feel like it was kind of like that for everyone. Like things were just sort of at a standstill. Like it wouldn't like things were just kind of like stagnating. Like things weren't kind of coming through. But then I was speaking to someone yesterday, and she was like, hi Gabby. She was like, I love traveling during Mercury retrograde. So I mean, like I guess it's kind of like you create your reality. So I think like you can't just let a planet rule your life. I guess it's just sort of like be mindful of what's going on. Hello. So now that I guess it's like Mercury sort of like still in its shadow period. So things are going to kind of get going now, but there's still a little bit of like the dust is settling, and it's like, yeah, I guess we're still sort of going through it, but it's going to be getting better and better. And they say like after December 7th, it's like all those kind of things maybe should have a little bit more ease and flow around them. So now we're in Sagittarius season, which is like exciting for a couple of reasons, because I have Sagittarius rising, and so I feel like I'm like, this is my season. It just feels really good. But Sagittarius energy is all about like exploration, like wisdom, how like learning, long distance travel, expansion. It's ruled by Jupiter, and like wherever Jupiter is, we just have like luck and expansion in that area. And so I feel like Sagittarius is just like such a great season, because it's like kind of like that fiery like time to get things going again and like get things started, and like everything that sort of was like yes, 100%. Like I feel like it's like that fiery energy of getting things started. And because I was kind of nerding out on like looking up like entrepreneurs Sagittarius placements, because I have this theory that like most entrepreneurs have prominent Sagittarius placements somewhere, because it's like that really like they're visionaries. It's like that fiery go-getter energy. Like they see something they want, they just go for it, and they're like not averse to a little bit of risk. Like they're happy to sort of like just jump into things. And that's what I really am excited about the new moon in Sagittarius. So it's like at this new moon, I think it's a great time to be like visioning, like where do you want to expand next year? Like where do you want to go? What's your vision? We also have like Jupiter conjunct with Venus, and it's like such an amazing conjunction, I think, because like I was saying before, wherever Jupiter is with something, it's kind of going to give like luck and expansion to that place. And like being conjunct with Venus means that it's just going to send like a shitload of blessings to like relationships, like abundance, like everything that Venus rules, which is very much like anything that gives you pleasure. So it's like luck and expansion and things that you like working together. So I feel like it's a really beautiful conjunction, and just kind of like a nice like release from like all the kind of really intense energy that we were going through last month. Yeah, so basically like my new moon ritual is like I will just sort of like free journal on what I want to call in, like I'll write it in the past tense, like it's already happened. I'll just kind of like write myself a letter, and I'll like put a date at the top, like say you want to do it for like a month from now, and then you would just write down like be like you would put your own name, but you'd be like, dear Kim, hey Dan, you would be like, dear Kim, I had the most amazing month. I did XYZ, I went here, like this happened, I received this, like, and you just keep going and sort of like write it all out as if you've already done it. Because when you're always like putting things into the future, being like, oh, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do this, it kind of just like sends the message to the universe like, oh, I'm gonna do it, I'm gonna do it, but like it hasn't happened yet. So I like to write it down like it's already happened in the past tense, like you've already done it. And then out of that journaling period, then I will kind of like take the primary kind of things that have come up, and then I'll write down those as like my intentions for the month. And like basically the way I like to do this is like the only reason you ever want to manifest something is because of the feeling you think that you're going to get from having it. So the subconscious really speaks in like feelings and images and like sounds, and I guess pictures are the same as images, but it doesn't really understand words. So basically I like to write it down as like in the past tense. I will be like, I feel blah, 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 and I received XYZ. So say for instance, you had like an income goal for the week, you'd be like, I feel abundant and I manifested this much. And so I would pick like 3 to 5 things that I kind of want to focus on and just like really feel into the intention of like that I already have it. And I would take it, those affirmations, and I would put them like everywhere. Like I write them on my mirror. I'll like put them on a piece of paper somewhere where I can see it. I will put them like as the screensaver of my phone, because you really just want to be like getting it into your subconscious, because the way your subconscious works is it basically like your conscious mind is telling it what's going on, and then your subconscious is like producing it in your reality. So when you're like consciously putting in like, I have this, I feel this, and then your subconscious is like, oh, okay, that's how you feel, or that's what you have, or whatever. And then it kind of goes to work on creating it for you. And like, it doesn't have a sense of humor or like understand the word no. So like, you can't be sarcastic with it, and you can't be like, oh, I don't want XYZ, because it doesn't understand no. It just takes like the primary thing of what you're talking about, and it just gives you that. So say for example, you were like, oh, I don't know, why can't I can never think of something like on the spot. It'd be like, say you were like, I don't want 1,000 puppies to show up or something. And then you'd like, your subconscious would just be like 1,000 puppies. So instead, if you were like, I just want 1 dog, you would just be like, instead of saying like, I don't want 1,000 puppies, you would be like, I want 1 dog, because your brain doesn't understand the whole like, I don't want something. It just is like, you said this, that's what's going to show up for you. So when you're writing your manifestations, like, write them in the past tense, write them in the positive, as like, you're like, this is what I want, not what I don't want. And then also I like to add in, you can't manifest for other people. It's really rude. Everyone has free will. And I feel like the thing that people always come up with about, they're like, oh, I really want to manifest a relationship with like XYZ. And it's like, that's so impolite, because like, everyone has free will, and like, if it's in the highest good for both of you, it'll happen. And you don't need to be like trying to control that through like you like purposely like writing it down in your journal every day or something. Like, instead of like being like, I want to be with XYZ, you'd be like, okay, well, these are the qualities that they have that I like. I want to manifest a person with those qualities. And that way the universe can bring you something that is really in everyone's highest good, because it's just like bad manners to manifest for other people. And like, sometimes, I don't know about you, but it's like, how many times have you thought that you really wanted to date someone, and then it just turned out like, you were like, no, I'm so happy it didn't happen. So don't try and manifest things for other people. It's the same as being like, oh, I hope that I like want to have them have like this happen to them. Don't do that either. Like, that's just impolite as well. Yeah, so basically how I would do it is write down my little letter to myself, and then I would take out the like 3 to 5 primary intentions of what I wanted to manifest in. Like, sometimes I'll go in the month or like the quarter, or sometimes I'll set something that maybe I think is a little bit like easier for me to get, and then something that feels like a bit of a stretch, because I think you should always put down like stretch goals, because it's good for your brain. It gives you something to be excited about, and then when it happens, you're like extra excited because you really wanted it. And something I've been thinking about lately so much is like, people are so scared to write down what they really want, and it's like, you're just writing it down on a piece of paper that like probably no one else is going to see. So like, dream big. Like, we need to value what we're dreaming about enough to like go for like the big things. And like, because I don't know what we're trying to protect ourselves from not getting it, but it's like, if you're never clear and articulate about what you really do want, you'll completely miss out on the chance of you ever getting it. And if you write it down and articulate like, that is what I want, even if it feels scary or you're like scared you might not get it, well, you have a higher chance of getting it when you have like the clarity around like that being what you wanted. So yeah, that's basically my new moon ritual. Sometimes you could light a candle. Oh, thanks, Sky. You're amazing. You could light a candle. Um, Mine are all gone, so I'm not doing that. But yeah, I basically like to write down those intentions, put them somewhere where you can see them, focus on it. Like, you don't need to be like focusing on it obsessively. Like, you don't need to like sit there and be like, wow, I really hope it's going to happen. I'm going to think about it every single day. Like, it's more just like set the intention. And sometimes when you can almost like detach from it a little bit, that's when stuff comes through even quicker and better. And then at the end of the month, I love to like go back and like just check it off the list, because it like proves to yourself like your manifesting is working. You're getting all the stuff that you want, because it's so easy to like write it down sometimes and then completely forget about it. And then I'll like sometimes go back into like journals or vision boards from like months later and be like, oh, I got all these things and I didn't even realize that I was like writing down that I wanted them. So yeah, I hope you have an amazing Sagittarius new moon. If you're watching this after today, you can still do this for like the energy is still kind of there for like the next like day or two. Yeah, but try and get it done within like the 3-day window. And then I just wanted to leave you with like a little mantra that I got from like the astrology planner that I'm using, basically. Just something to focus on. And it's for the new moon, it's I'm inspired when I expand my horizons, and adventure is evolution. So I hope you guys have an amazing day, and I will see you later.